Really quickly, I just want to say thank you to all of you for 50k subscribers. That was actually my goal at the beginning of the year when I had around 1,000 subs. I've been doing YouTube on and off for a long time, and finally having this kind of success, it's truly an honor. My new end of the year goal is 100,000 subs. Here's to another 50k, now let's get into this video. College football is always evolving. We've seen major changes. Players come and go. We've even seen a whole new system put in place. And I'm going to take you back 10 years all the way to 2007. And this will be done through a simulation of my version of a preview show taking place a decade ago. So, enjoy. Okay, so let's go over a quick recap of last season. We saw yet another year of the underdog as Boise State's late game heroics held on for a victory against Oklahoma. This is the second time in the history of the BCS that a non-power conference team made it to a BCS bowl, and non-power conference teams currently stand at 2-0. And in the national title, played in the same stadium as the iconic Fiesta Bowl a week previous, we got a game that was a lot more lopsided. Florida gave Ohio State a good old-fashioned beatdown, and Heisman Trophy winner Troy Smith struggled mightily, making it the second year in a row that the Heisman winner was beat in the national championship. Which now brings us into this year's watch, the Heisman Watch. Based on this website dedicated to breaking down college football's most prestigious award, I'm going to present the preseason top 5 candidates. At number 5, from Texas, Jamaal Charles. Texas is a serious national title contender this year, and their dominant offense is setting up for Jamaal Charles to put up some nasty numbers. Oh, by the way, the man can flat out fly. Last year he ran track for Texas and was an All-American sprinter, including a personal best of 10.13 in the 100 meter. For context, if you don't know how fast that is, in the 2004 Olympics, 7th place in the 100 meter final was 10.10. Yeah, good luck catching this guy. At number 4, we have Cole Brennan. The man plays for Hawaii, but he makes this list because of the insane numbers he put up last season. Over 5,500 yards and 58 touchdowns. Stats like that again this year, along with Hawaii going undefeated, could give the Warriors their first Heisman winner ever. At number 3, Steve Slayton. In a backfield comprised of one of the deadliest 1-2 punchers in college football with him and Pat White, Steve Slayton put up 2,100 all-purpose yards and 18 touchdowns last season. And all signs point towards insane numbers once again. West Virginia will start the year off at number 3, and they're gunning for a national title. And Slayton will be a big reason why. And as this website has it, we have a tie for the obvious runaway candidates, John David Booty and Darren McFadden. Let's start with the latter. McFadden is the mold of a perfectly well-rounded tailback. Speed, size, elusiveness, ability to catch. Oh look, he can even throw the ball. He is flat out one of the best college football players that I've ever watched. And barring injury, he should be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft if he chooses to leave after his junior season. And lastly, we have John David Booty. With a string of Heisman winning quarterbacks, John David Booty could be the 3rd quarterback in a row from USC to take home the trophy. In the Rose Bowl last year, he threw for nearly 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Quite a bit of people also thought he could have been better than Matt Leinart, and still think he has potential this season. And with the weapons around him, the sky's the limit. By the way, you can play with all these guys in NCAA 08, which came out just over a month ago. The hit stick in this game feels a lot better, and you can break out of animations with the right analog stick. This is a big step up in gameplay. I'm normally a Dynasty guy, but this year's Campus Legend mode has become very intriguing to me. When you create your player, you start off in your senior year in high school, and based on how you perform is how highly rated you go into college. This idea alone sold me on the game, and I'm sure it did as well for a lot of people. Okay, back to the actual college football. Quickly on a few rule changes, kickoffs are now moved from the 35 to the 30 to reduce the number of touchbacks. Also, last year's rule that when the ball is kicked off, the clock starts has been removed due to a lot of complaints from coaches. Okay, now let's take a dive into the nation's best. I'm just going to highlight a few key teams. USC, with the Heisman favorite, takes the cake as the AP preseason #1, overwhelmingly taking most of the first place votes. They had a ton of draft-eligible juniors from last season that decided to stay, and they easily have the most well-rounded team in the country. For #2, LSU, I don't know. I just don't have a great feeling about them. Jamarcus Russell is gone, and this will be Matt Flynn's first season with the complete reins. I just have a hard time trusting inexperienced quarterbacks. It's the same thing with Ohio State, who lost Heisman winner Troy Smith. Another team losing their quarterback is last year's champion, Florida. Four-year starter Chris Leak is now gone, along with the majority of starters on both sides of the ball. But Urban Meyer has proven to be a great coach, and Florida is very high on young quarterback Tim Tebow, who had quite a bit of playing time last year. So it will be interesting to see if he can have similar success to Chris Leak. They also picked up 5-star recruit Cameron Newton, who should be the backup, and I'm predicting eventually he'll be the starter for the Gators. At #3, West Virginia might be the most exciting offense in the country. Also bringing in 5-star recruit Noel Devine. I can't imagine how teams are going to stop these guys. They have one of the most favorable schedules as well, so they could easily make a run. Here's a tip for NCAA 08 players. Speed option with these guys, it's unstoppable. At #5, Michigan is one of my picks to go all the way this season. They still have the three-headed monster of Chad Henne, Mike Hart, and Mario Manningham. All three of them have futures in the NFL. Along with that, they may have the best offensive lineman in the country at left tackle, Jake Long. The Big Ten media has them winning the conference, finally getting over the hump against Ohio State. And if they do that, they should be national championship bound. They play 3 games in a row at home to start the season, beginning with a warm-up game versus Appalachian State. They should be winning by enough at halftime to see what backup Ryan Mallett looks like for the future. My early season prediction for the national title is going to be USC versus Michigan, a rematch of last year's Rose Bowl, with again USC winning. If the Trojans pull this off, I see Pete Carroll staying for a long, long time. Okay, now done with the simulation, I just want to flash to the national title game. We had SEC champion LSU versus the reappearance of last year's loser, Ohio State. There was a lot of speculation surrounding LSU. They had quite the wild run, including Les Miles becoming widely popular with unconventional calls like this.
And it's a fake. They give it to David and he heads for the corner. Touchdown, LSU!
But LSU had lost twice throughout the regular season. And entering the SEC championship, LSU was ranked #5, with a small hope that both #1 and #2, who both played in separate games that weekend, would have to lose. Also, Kirk Herbstreit announced on College Game Day that Michigan was going to hire Les Miles. Later, that statement was proven to be false. And well, for #1 and #2, they both lost, and the 2-loss LSU Tigers jumped to #2 and made it to the national title. Ohio State had suffered a bad late season loss, but because this is one of the few years where there were 0 power conference teams undefeated, it allowed them to benefit from the same thing as LSU. Early on, Ohio State jumped out in front, but by the second quarter, things quickly shifted. It truly wasn't even close. Although LSU had lost twice, they proved to be the better team on the biggest stage.
And I think it's imperative that I straighten it out. I'm the head coach at LSU. I will be the head coach at LSU. I have no interest in talking to anybody else. I got a championship game to play, and I'm excited about the opportunity of my damn strong football team to play in.
All this just makes you wonder, what if #1 and 2 didn't lose? Would Les Miles have gone to Michigan? Who knows? If you were curious why I didn't talk about some of the major upsets that happened, that will be a separate video. You just wait.
What a mess go. Good snap. Good hold.